a bit late. Is it a bit late? No, it's not a bit late. We haven't had a turbo pint. No, not a turbo pint. And there's the railway. I think we go over it, but it's actually under it.
We're going under it, yeah.
We haven't had a turbo pint. We've had, for petrol heads, we've had kind of a naturally aspirated pint, or 2 or 3. Anyway, whatever, let's skirt over that fact. We're out on another adventure. So yeah, we had a couple of pints at the Bluebell Inn, an absolutely superb pub, I must say. We, James and I, met up there, a little earlier on, to be honest. And we had a pint, chat, we had another pint, and then this nice guy started up with a band. Well, a bit of live music always goes down well. And so we had another pint, and but it gets to a point where actually you have to get on with it, don't you? So we are out. Hi, I'm Warren Brand and welcome to another Linleys video. Let's check the map. This is the junction. Yeah. This is not supposed to be a night walk. I'm probably about an hour from home, and I think James is maybe not quite the same, up from home as well. We met in Cocking, which is a lovely little village. Never been there before. Found the Bluebell Inn. Now, there are reasons particularly for turning up at Cocking and meeting at the Bluebell Inn, and more of that in a little while. Resorted to a bit of head torch light. The light's pretty well going. We're on Bepton Down, and we've got about a kilometre or so to do. We've left it a bit late, sundown has happened, but that's cool. Do I care? Not a problem. Oh, I see the high ground. Yeah. It's a bit of an open field, but I can see the high ground. Arrived. That is good. That is good. More about our location to follow. We're later than we were originally planning. Blame the music and the pints in the pub. Or blame me, or
blame me.
Or blame James. I'm up for blaming Anyhow, usual arrangements. We're going to kind of skirt around, find a pitch spot. There's some woodland there. We're just on the kind of field point here, and then I'll get back to you. I've got my Lanshan 1 out again. There's a reason for this, and I will tell you, promise, I will tell you when I'm all set up in my tent. I'm in my Lanshan 1, and it's got the full inner, not the mesh, it's kind of the winter full inner with the J-zip. It's only the second time I've pitched it for real. Let's look at food that I've got. It's already almost 11 o'clock. It's a bit late, but let's look at food. Looks like all set up. We're really close to each other. James has got his 3x3 DD tarp, but in a kind of a tent formation. Very impressive. Gonna go for, look at this, it's a really hardcore product, this one. It's a chili and non-carne. I'm going to add a little bit of special fried rice with that, I think, bulk it out a little bit. So that's my main, and I'm going to use, you'll see no Tranger here this evening. I've got my little burner set up. Lightweight, allegedly, for this camp. To go with that, I've got some naan breads, and James will have a couple of those, I hope. To follow, I got some custard. Oh, it's a bit late for custard, but I got custard and just 2 apple pies, so hopefully James and I can just share them a little bit later on. And look at this lurking in the side here. I got, you know, going lightweight. There's irony here, of course, with a glass bottle. Of course, fully recyclable, and it will be recycled, but glass bottle, not really lightweight, is it? But a nice bottle of Hogsback tea. So what is this? This is chili non-carne, so no meat involved. Is it any good? Is it any good? It is hot. That's very good, actually. It's got some sweet corn, some beans, and a good kicking flavour as well. Now, with my trangia, I put the naan bread around and give them a bit of a toasting, but can't do that with that little pot. Wow, look at that. Cheers. Cheers. Oh, that's got a kick. Yeah, right, I'm in. Settled down in my tent. I've had a wander around, checked the little trig point, which is over there somewhere. Hopefully trig point will look after us during the night. There aren't very many paths around here, so hopefully we're not going to be disturbed. Yeah, it's peaceful. The wind has dropped, stars are out, moon is up. Rather pretty, really, and there's loads of twinkly lights. We like the twinkly lights, but it's dare I say, it's almost 1 o'clock, so it is time to say goodnight. So I shall say night-night to James as well, and see you in the morning. Night. Night, James.
Good night.
Well, good morning. My goodness, the sun is absolutely shining. What a glorious start to a day. Wow, what a beautiful morning's view. Fabulous. We picked a good spot last night. We picked a good spot. This is just like a high little lump here with the trig point, and then the ground dips all the way around, trees, and it's pretty well a 360 view. And over there's Portsmouth with the Spinnaker Tower, and then up this concrete little lump thing, not this, that's a trig point. Spinnaker Tower is right over there. You can see the Solent area, high ground right over the other side. See all these twinkly lights last night. We were trying to work out kind of the bearing really as to what we were looking at. I should have got a compass out. There's a bit of high ground in the foreground here, and then I'm trying to convince myself that's the Isle of Wight through the tops of the trees and beyond, but it may not be. Yeah, I don't suppose any of that'll come out on camera overly clearly. Let's wander back to our little pitch spot. James has got his little water pot on already. I think I need to do the same. Just about sit up in this Lanshan one, just about, although I got this peg nagging me in the back of my head. James and I were just talking about packing up gear, time is moving on, but we did touch on the fact that the last time, well not the last time, but an earlier time when we were camping, we had, well, what did you say, brace of tranches, a brace of tranches. We had a Trangia fest. I don't know if you've seen that video, great fun. A couple of raccoon tents nestled together on top of another summit. Gear wise, this time though, different. Lightweight, he says lightweight. What does a lightweight mean for Warren? Lighter weight, let's say. He's still chuckling away to himself. Lightweight gear. So I've got the Lanshan. This is the second time I've used it, just as a kind of getting it going. I've done a couple of mods. Might do a couple more little adaptations, but I'm happy with the different guy lines I put on and various bits. But other gear that I've got, particularly for the South Downs Way walk, which is actually in 10 days time, a bit scary, is I've got my Berghaus sleeping mat. Now I bought that a few months ago and I've used it a few times, happy with that. It's a sort of a 3/4-ish size. It's not the full sort of rectangle. Adequate. I'm not sure it's lightweight either, but it does have some foam inside it. It naturally kind of lofts up a little bit, so even without air in it, if it got a puncture, it's still usable as a mat. I've tested it out that way. I've also got a fairly recent purchase, is this green, kind of a, I don't know, dark leafy green, flame screed quilt. First time I've used it in the wild, actually last night. Oh, I've been debating, Dan will know this, Camp Life Bushcraft Dan. I've been debating for months about the purchase of a quilt. Never used a quilt in a tent before. I like it. I was ample warm enough last night in it, absolutely, certainly this morning, but during the early part of the night, I wouldn't say I was overly warm, but warm enough certainly for the summer. It will only be a summer go-to item, so that's good, but it really compresses down into a small package, so I'm happy with that. Let's leave it there for the moment. I'll show you around the tent a bit later on. Oh, it's warm. It's 9 o'clock. The sun has got its hat on, and I can see the moon there too. Moon was rising. I don't know if you saw that in the photos last night. The moon was just rising up, a kind of a half glow of redness. Right, let's look at tent, my Lanshan 1 and the mods I've done. Did this in time for the last trip with Dan. Oh, that was wet, real wet evening. But the tent stood up. Now it's a sunny night. So I've changed the guidelines completely, and I've looked at different YouTube channels, taken different sort of hints and tips from various people. I kind of made up my own plan. So they're yellow. Be ready. So I've gone for, this is where the top is. Now that does seem to be pulling down a little bit more than I was really anticipating, but I've gone for a complete lock on the top of my walking pole, and there are 4 radial guy lines from there. So the longest comes out this way and goes down all the way down to a peg point there. So that's quite a long line, and indeed that's not even all of it, because it's pinched up using the adjuster there. From the other side, similarly, quite a long line. Sorry about the shadow. Coming out this side, and I've included picking up this little kind of lifter point here, and then down really a long way out. The idea of going all the way through this and up is to make sure the tension takes up from the top, better in windy conditions. This just slides and it just helps lift the side of the tent down. That works really well. In a similar way, I've got 2 lines from each side, right up to the top, all the way up to the top, through this kind of lifting point here and all the way down to a peg point, quite a way out from the tent. So, like it, don't like it. It's been good so far. I'm a little bit concerned about the way the guy lines have kind of pinched and shrunk around the top of the walking trekking pole, but we'll see. 2 nights with that setup, I like it. James has got a tarp tent set up. He's got 3x3 super light DD tarp in that nice dark green. He's just got that pinned out really well. So pinned out all the corners, guy lines. That's a good configuration. You got that really sweet actually. And I like the way you've pulled these kind of side pieces back. What a view. So if that's Portsmouth, this is inland. Shame about these trees, don't know what's there. Yeah. All packed up. I didn't explain my backpack. I've got the Exos 58 with me, so my lightweight setup, not quite the lightest of lightweight. I see James has got a smaller backpack as well, so puts mine to shame. But however, I like carrying a little bit of stuff, a few mod cons, you know, kitchen sink and, you know, shower unit, that sort of stuff. Yeah, right. We're good, we're done, we're off in a moment. I've said it, I'll say it again. What a glorious morning with such fantastic views. It's not the Peak District or the Lake District or the Yorkshire Dales with kind of high mountains. This is a hill, it's not a mountain, but whatever. It's glorious, really lovely English countryside. Well, there are 2 particular key reasons for doing this overnighter. Firstly, the location. So it's on the South Downs Way. Now, Dan and I are doing South Downs Way in what is less than a couple of weeks' time now. And this is potentially one of those little cheeky overnight spots that we've been picking on the map and measuring distances. And I just fancy just seeing what it's like here, seeing if it's a go or no-go option in terms of, you know, sequence. And yeah, it's good here. We you know, if we get to here, which we should, this will be a good stopping point. And now that I've seen it, you know, it's a place to aim for. The soil is so thin. Getting those pegs in last night was really tricky. Remarkable on this lovely green grassy area. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, as I've mentioned, checking out my lightweight gear. Lightweight Warren style, not super lightweight, obviously. And I've been pleased with that combo of setup with the Lanshan 1 and my quilt, which I've got to make a decision whether I use it or a sleeping bag, but I bought the damn thing and it was warm enough. It's summertime, so yeah, should be good. So the quilt and other bits and pieces, and what I need to take, what I don't need to take, the usual stuff. I might do like a pack out checklist video just to make that final decision about what I'm taking. But I think we're good to go, aren't we, James? So we're going to head out, catch you in a minute. Going to do some, a couple of questions. A few people have asked me some specific questions recently, so I'll do kind of a Q&A on our way off this lovely hillside. Leaving no trace, of course. Bit of flat grass, tufty grass. Nice. We're heading off and we're actually going to pick up the South Downs Way. So we're going to go back down the South Downs Way towards Cocking, picking up the road just the same way as when doing the South Downs Way in a couple of weeks' time. We'll come along here, do a camp here, and then re-pick up the path and back down. Whoa, well, this is the South Downs Way.
Yeah, because we came up through that field.
And that was the wonky sign we saw.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Brill.
came through that gate.
Yep. So yes,
Excellent.
let's crack on
Yeah.
down there. Let's do a little couple of questions of Q&A. I've got a few lined up here. Thank you to subscribers who've commented, really appreciate that, and I've collected them over time really, so they go back a little bit, some of them. Sorry for the delay. One subscriber says, do you drive far to hike, wild camp, or do you generally stay near home, etc.? And do you worry about leaving your car when you do? You know, there's kind of two questions there. Really, really good. So let's talk about leaving the car first, because I can square that off very quickly. Morning.
Morning.
These days, yes, I do worry about leaving my car, to be honest. I wouldn't quite say I'm paranoid, but a couple of steps back from paranoid. I've never had any trouble at all. And I don't know anybody personally who has, although people on YouTube and other people have commented, yeah, they have had problems with their car, or they've seen evidence of car break-ins. I haven't. So, yeah, the way I deal with that is generally park, not morning. Not in lay-bys these days. I used to just pull up, find a lay-by that was, you know, not restricted for overnight camping, overnight parking. Just pull up, unload, off, come back, didn't even think about it. But I don't know, I don't these days. So my usual trick is to work out a walking trekking route that includes a turbo pint at the beginning, not park in the pub, because generally they don't like that, and that just doesn't seem quite right. But find a quiet little location where I can leave my car. Morning. And kind of know that it blends in with other cars in the local area. Obviously being careful not to block anybody or kind of overstate the car. And generally it's one night, occasionally it's two, but generally one night, and parking up late afternoon, mid-afternoon, and driving off in the morning. That's what I do. So to answer the question sort of succinctly, yes, I do worry, and what I do about it is I just park in a little town or village and inevitably walk a little bit further on my trail, but peace of mind really. The second thing, which was the first part of the question, about do I drive or hike from home, I don't do local walks. There was just nothing really. Morning. There's really just nothing substantial near me. The nearest is South Wales to Brecons, and that's sort of 2.5, even 3 hours away. This trip, for example, to pick up this part of the South Downs, that was just over an hour's drive for me. So yep, I do have to drive, and in fact I did do a video about my usual organisation for some of these sorts of trekking trips fairly recently. I'll see if I can put a card up for you to find that, or a note in the description. Thank you to that subscriber for the question. Good question. So let's move on to the second question from a subscriber who's messaged in. What extras do you pack for 2 nights over just 1 night, and do you feel the extra weight? Well, the answer to feeling the extra weight is usually blinking heavy anyway. It's more the bulk. Sometimes it just hardly fits in even my large rucksack. So yes, I do feel the extra weight. So what do I take? Well, if it's a 2-nighter, always tempted to take 2 beers. It's nice to have a beer. Don't go over the top with beer consumption on a mountain, but it's nice to just end the evening with a beer. So I would aim to take an extra beer. I guess there are 2 key questions that I need to answer there regarding water and food, because I don't think I take much else extra just for the 2 nights, probably. So the extra would be water and food. Depends on the trek, of course. Now, if I know I can pick up water somewhere along after or during the first day, ready for the second day, then I won't need to worry about taking the extra water for the second day.
but depends which location you're in. Brecon Beacons, there's not a lot of spare water there if you're staying up high, unless you're kind of dipping down and collecting water and going back up. There's water in the Peak District. Usually that's okay to find water for the second day. So water, if I was doing 2 nights and not able to pick up water, that would be extra sort of kilogrammage, and water obviously is heavy. Food then, if I was doing 2 nights, I would usually do my sort of food combo for the first night and get that weight gone and in my tummy. So, you know, the rice and the bits and pieces I chop up and sort of fry, make a bit of a meal if I can the first night, and then leave the second night on a dehydrating kind of meal, which, apart from needing water, is obviously lighter. I haven't always done that. Sometimes, summertime, if there's not so much in my bag, I have taken 2 sort of evening worths of food. But yeah, that gets more bulky and heavy. So not a lot else is different. I obviously have to worry about enough battery capacity for my phone and other equipment that I'm using. So I guess that's another factor, but that's about it. That's the extras I carry, and yeah, the extra weight is noticeable. Right, James, another question coming up for me. So this one says, you seem to have many tents. How many tents have you got, and how do you choose which one to use? You know, that's another good question. How many tents? Uek. Now, you know, I'm sure lots of people have got lots more tents than me. There are YouTubers who, you know, kind of buy one or get given one. I've had to buy all of my tents. I've not been donated any, or none of them have been provided through any kind of scheme. So over the years I have amassed a few tents. I'm going to rattle them off in order super quick. Oh, morning. Sorry, slight interruption to answering the question. That's a super beastie rock. Wow, whether it's naturally placed there or not, I don't know. Morning.
In my younger days.
Yes. Oh, righty. Oh, good. I think a gent there said he put it there in his younger days. You're right. It's tons worth of rock. Right, going back to the question. So, tents. I bought my first proper tent. I did have a little canvassy thing, kind of as a kid really, but I won't count that one. My old tent, which is now probably 46, 47 years old, I actually forget what it's called. It's a 2-person double parallel hoop tent with 2 vestibules, and I have done a video about that way back earlier on my channel. It's defunct. It's too tired. I can't use it now. The zips don't work. I have used it for a couple of times, but it's basically not usable. Nostalgic purposes only, I keep it. I have a Sol, Vango Sol 200 tent. Now, I used that in my early days of YouTubing. I bought that probably 5 or 6 years ago. Used that a lot. But as I was doing more and more sort of higher level camps, it really wasn't suitable for more than, or not even 3 series. I've had a couple of scratchy nights in it. So I superseded that by buying my Acto, and you probably have seen me using my Acto. And I now use my Acto kind of, again, 3 seasons. Don't generally use it in the sort of deep winter time here in England, Wales and Scotland. So I also then bought a Sulu, Helleberg Sulu, and that's my red dome tent, which is a bit red really, certainly for videoing in the morning. It's red. I've also got an Alak, which is a larger 2-person version of the Sulu. Don't use that very much, and that's really more for car camping. I've used that a few times when I've car camped for day walks. What else have I got? I've got this Lanshan one, which is a relatively recent purchase, specifically for keeping it lightweight for long distance paths. Have I got any more? I've got some bivvies. I've got a couple of bivvies. The fairly recent purchase was the Rab Rid Raider. Not sure that really counts as a tent, but whatever. I got a few tarps and other bits and pieces as well. I think that's a fairly substantial list, AJ.
You got the backwards bungalow.
Backwards bungalow, of course. My backwards, is that a tent? Yeah, it's a tent. Okay, so I've got my backwards bungalow, which is that black thing that I got. I just used that in the wood. I've used that a few times actually. You're right, James. Of course, that is a tent. So moving on to how I choose. Well, yeah. Fundamentally, my routine go-to is my Acto. I like it. Oh, I've got my is it OEX raccoon?
Yeah.
So I've got my OEX raccoon as well. Yeah. So how do I choose? Right. Let's kind of wrap this up really quick if I can. How do I choose my tents? I would mountain. Mountain, summer, autumn, spring is my Acto. Mountain, winter is my Sulu. The Vango Sol 200, I generally don't use that now. There's not a lot of space and I've superseded it with other things. Long distance path, as per development now, is the Lanshan 1. The backwards bungalow, woodland, snuggle it right up against the fire. I don't care if it's got holes in. It does have some cinder holes in it, don't care. It's not for being in a tent waterproof, it's just like a bug net and stuff, so that's okay. The raccoon, I don't know why. I bought it and that was good. We had a camp together. I've used it a few times, so why would I use the raccoon mid-level? I could perhaps have used the raccoon last night, if it wasn't that I was practicing and checking out the sort of the route and the lightweight gear, because the raccoon's not light really. It's a two-person, so you know, it's not a lightweight tent. So I could have used that last night. Actually, I probably would have done. What else? I think that hits that question. Thank you to subscriber who put that question to me. Morning. This is the tarmac section of the South Downs Way. There's been joggers, runners and just people ambling along, and obviously people doing the South Downs Way, and also South Down Wayers, if that's a term, it is now, on bikes. Obviously very popular. Well, I think before I get to the main road down there, I've got time for at least one more question. So another question goes, what do you use for navigation? Traditional map and compass, or more modern? I've been using OpenStreetMap as a guide with some success, not always though. Well, yeah, I don't use OpenStreetMap, so I am using that word that's in the question here, a traditionalist. I do like a paper OS map. It's got to be an OS map in sort of the British Isles, OS map and a compass. I've grown up, developed my skill, very happy, very comfortable, and I think quite capable of navigating, even at night, using a paper map. That's kind of hard work. Not saying that I get lazy, but convenience, and with modern tech, absolutely supplement that with map on phone, GPS device, and other general equipment. For local check, I quite often just simply pick up my phone and have a look, because it tells you your location as well. So it's just a double check. But for proper navigation, coming off the top of the hill, I will look at my paper map in the tent. I'll get the paper map out and have a check around where I am, see what exit routes I've got. It's better to see the whole route, in my opinion. I do use electronic digital devices, like I say, my phone. On my phone, I certainly use the OS map. I do the subscription to that, but I also use there's a Swiss map that I use. There's also the Garmin map that I use. Now with the Garmin map, I do have, and I haven't got it with me because we're in reach of sort of cellular signal. I've got a Garmin InReach 2, which I use when I'm on my own, especially into more remote places. So that's got a map and GPS capacity. I also have an old Garmin map. It's got a base map on it, a Garmin, what is it, 310? I don't know what I've got. It's my second one over the sort of 20 years, which I've used in the Alps and all sorts of places overseas, just as a backup for paper map and GPX kind of referencing. But I am a traditionalist, so give me the option, paper map and compass.
All the way through to Eastbourne?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
No worries. Anyway, it was lovely to see you.
Thank you.
Cheers. Take care.
Brilliant. Well, that was a happy extra find, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Wasn't expecting that at all. Didn't spot that on the map. Really pleased to found that little coffee shop. Hadn't spotted it on the map, so it'll be a go-to point coming along here on the South Downs Way, hence the location of it, of course. Well, I got time. Literally, the main road is just up ahead. I got time for one more question. So another question that's come in: what are your tips when it's both warm and raining? I was on an ascent and it started raining, popped my waterproof on, and I was cooking. Well, yeah, absolutely. There is no easy answer to that. You're gonna get wet in any case. If it's that hot, I sweat a lot, so there isn't an easy option. Whatever you put on is got to be kind of loose and baggy and a lot of ventilation. Gore-Tex, breathable, potentially, hard to say. If it's summertime and it's a light shower, to be honest, there's not a lot of point putting something on. You might as well just get a bit damp and dry off. Again, it depends on what you're wearing, I suppose. I generally wear these sweat vests. They dry really quick. If it's a longer, like a heavy shower, storm or something, yeah, you've got to put something on. You might have seen me don my very attractive, I'm getting smirks here from the James, my very attractive, orange top. It's a trial, I don't know. The trick would be perhaps to ease up on the ascent so you're not generating a lot of heat. Just take it easy for a bit and take the waterproof top off as soon as you can. I'm sure that's the best answer I can give. If anybody else has any tips, please do pop them in the comments below. Now I'm at the busy road.
So now the question being,
we crossed the main road. My original plan was to walk down the main road for about half a mile or so, but there's no footpath. There's a bit of a kind of a green bank, but really busy road. Didn't fancy walking along the road just on the side really without a footpath. So we are walking this way just for a couple of 100 meters, then turning left through some sort of field edges and bits, following a footpath. Much safer and less noisy for sure. Well, we are heading back to the car back in, I don't know, 20 minutes or so. Probably leave the video here for now. We've had a good overnighter.
Yep.
Extra bonus coffee this morning. Glorious weather, and from my perspective, looking forward to the South Downs Way in less than a couple of weeks' time. Like I've said, there's just that in my mind now, a sense of kind of comfort knowing where one of those pitch points are going to be. And I've checked my lightweight gear, well, sort of lightweight gear. So from this little segment of the South Downs Way, just by the village of Cocking here, thank you very much for watching, and bye for now.